Hi guys, welcome back to Snag Central, and today this is the perfect solid bag rig. Let's go. So to start off the rig, you want to take some supple braid like the Korda Supernatural, some kickers or shrink tubing just to give the hook a bit more kick, micro ring swivels, high grip hook beads or normal hook beads will do the job, pair of scissors, hook of choice, and then you also want a needle, baiting needle, splicing needle, whatever. So to kick things off, strip off about 6 to 7, maybe 8 inches of your desired supple braid hook link. Give that a snip like so. Then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and grab your hook of choice and thread the hook link through the back of the hook, and it does help just to wet it so that the end's not fuzzy. Just goes through the eye a bit nicer. Then what you want to do is perform a whipping knot. Just make sure that you pull down the tag end nice and small. Perform a whipping knot or knotless knot, whatever you want to call it, and making sure the exit through the back end of the hook. Again, you'll see in this clip, it makes it a lot easier just to give it a little lick like so, just so it goes through that eye much easier. Then take your scissors and trim off the tag end of the knotless knot. Once you've done that, take your kickers or your shrink tubing and grab it, making sure that you're putting the fat end of the kicker down the line. Just thread it onto the line up at the top like so, making sure to push it right down, covering that knot up, just so the kick starts at the end of the eye on the hook. Afterwards, take your micro ring swivel out of the pack. Then take said ring swivel and hook it on to your hook like so. The next step is to grab your high grip hook beads and take one off. Then take the hook bead and push it onto the hook at the point, being super careful that you don't prick your fingers at all. And what you want to do is just slide that hook bead down onto the hook so that's firm and secured onto the shank of the hook. So far the rig should look a little bit something like this. Then head over to the opposite end of the hook link and perform an overhand loop knot or a figure of 8 loop knot. Before pulling any knots tight, always make sure to wet the knot with a bit of saliva just to really cinch down that rig. And there we go, that's the completed rig. If you're like me and always want that extra bit of confidence in your rig, just give it a little pull down with the pulling tool. Then just make sure you're trimming off the tag end of the overhand loop knot. Now it's time to attach the bait onto the ring swivel. For me, I always find that wafters work a lot better with solid bag rigs. In this clip here, it does show you that I'm using Mulbs pop-ups, but don't be alarmed, it's just got Buckerberry wafters in it. Then take your weighting needle that we spoke about before and prod through the middle of the bait of choice, ensuring that the needle comes out at the other end. Then take a good section of bait floss, about 2-3 inches, and give it a snip. Following that, just push the bait floss through the eye of the ring swivel that's now attached to your hook, and then fold it back on itself. Then hook your baiting needle onto the bait floss and just slide that bait down nice and snug into the barrel of the swivel. Be sure to snip off any tag ends of the bait floss, this just makes the blobbing process much easier. Now take your lighter and burn down that tag end and blob it down nice and tight to the bait. And there we go, that's your bait attached to your rig. Now, swiftly moving on to the solid bag part, what you want to do is take your bag leader, push it through the big ring swivel at the bottom of said leader, then bring the rig back on itself, pushing the bait and the hook and the rest of the rig through the ring at the top of the rig. And that just performs a loop knot, and it just makes sure that that is secured onto there. Now put your lead onto the leader. I always find the process that I've just done a lot easier without having a lead on. Just weighs down the rig and makes it 10 times harder than what it needs to be. pull it down, make sure it's nice and secure, the ring swivel's tucked into the bottom of the lead like this. Now take your solid bag of choice. For me, I'm using the Korda Fast Melts in the small size. Then pull off a section of PVA tape. This is going to be used to tie off the top of the bag and make it tight. Now pry the bag open with 2 fingers and load it up with about a scoop and a half, maybe 2 scoops of pellet. Then take your lead, push it into the bag and make sure it's to one side of the bag, ideally leaning up against the back of it. All this does is just make sure that when the bag lands, it has the lead on the floor and then the hook bait facing towards the surface. Now add a couple more scoops just so that the lead's fully covered. It should look like this. Then take your hook bait, push it into the bag and just make sure that it doesn't get tangled on the rig. Then push it in so it's on the surface of the bag. It can be a bit fiddly, as you can see in this clip here. Push it to the front of the bag, and then what you're going to do is top it up with a little bit more pellet. Make sure to not fill the pellet all the way up to the top of the bag, leaving some space to then grip the top of the bag and give it a little pat down, a couple slaps, whatever you want to call it. And that just makes sure that it's nice and tight. Then take your PVA tape, wrap it around the top a couple of times like this. Then you should be left with 2 tags and just perform 2 little overhand granny knots like that, just to secure the tape in place. Make sure to trim off them tags and trim off the excess PVA at the top like this. There we go, that looks much neater. Now you should be up to here with the lead sticking out the back of the bag and the hook bait at the front. Then what you want to do is take the sides, the corners at the bottom of the bag, give them a little pinch and twist on the outsides just to get any more air out. Make it as aerodynamic as possible. Lick the corners and fold them in. Make sure to do that on both sides. And believe it or not guys, but we are now done. That's your completed solid bag. The last tip I can give you is to give it a little pierce in the front so that the hook bait's revealed nice and quickly when it melts. If you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to drop us a like, drop us a sub, and drop us a comment, share us to friends as it really supports the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.